Okay, everybody say it with me now. This is not full glam. Did you say it? Hope you did. Hello and welcome back to Mediocre Quarantine. So everybody close your eyes and imagine the scene where a middle-aged woman is waking up on a Saturday morning. She gets out of bed, takes a big inhale, lets out a soft sigh, gets up and starts making pancakes for her family. Okay, open your eyes. Did you imagine somebody wearing makeup? Or did you imagine somebody who looks like they're not wearing makeup but is naturally flawless? Last question. Did you imagine somebody with dark circles or maybe some hormonal acne going on, or maybe, you know, a birthmark on her cheek? No, you probably didn't. You probably imagined somebody who looks naturally flawless with no makeup. In film, when we show either a man anytime or a woman who is at home or after work on the couch, just woken up, maybe at the gym, all these kinds of situations, the person is supposed to look like they're not wearing makeup, but obviously they're wearing makeup because nobody has perfect skin. Nobody has absolutely nothing wrong with their skin or nothing that they'd like to kind of cover. And the reason why we do apply makeup in these situations is because we want their performance to be unhindered by any sort of distracting things like, you know, natural breakouts that happen on people or dark circles that happen on everybody. And so we apply this no makeup that it does look too flawless to be true. It is still makeup, but it's not supposed to register to you as makeup. You're just supposed to think this person looks natural and flawless. So I thought these would be some really great tips to share with you guys from my experience in film and my love for the look of that no makeup perfect skin look. Again, this is not full glam. This is not going out on the town beauty dolled up makeup, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with any of that. I am a huge fan of full highlight, full contour, full bronzer, all that kind of stuff. But this is the makeup that's supposed to look like you were born like this. You woke up like this. You naturally are flawless. And it's supposed to kind of like bring out your own natural beauty by kind of bringing down the attention to your flaws. I had a lot of fun filming this and I hope you guys enjoy it. So if you want to learn how to get movie star skin and natural flawless no makeup keep on watching. All right, so as you mostly do in makeup, we're starting off with a fresh and prepped base. That means all of our makeup is taken off. Our face is most recently either rinsed or washed. And then it has been moisturized. Under eye has some sort of cream on it, and the lips have a moisturizer on them as well. I find it best if you're not gonna wear a toner, at least apply your moisturizer right after washing or rinsing your face, because skin that has just been washed, it absorbs your moisturizer better and you're less likely to have any residue. And I usually err on the side of more moisturizing than less based on the type of skin. Before we apply any of our foundation or concealing products, we have to prep the skin or prime it. And there are tons and tons and tons of options out there. The best way to choose which primer or primers you should use is just consider your concerns. People who have dry skin, I say use creams, balms, or dewy radiant primers or oils. For oilier skin, most true mattifying primers, I say use very sparingly and very selectively. You want to put these products just in the places that you use. A pore filling primer just in the areas where you need pore filling. And for pretty much everybody who falls in not those categories, I say just use an ultra basic one like this guy here. It helps to just smooth over the entire skin, and it makes your foundation have to do less work, which is kind of the goal that we're trying to do here. Less of everything is better. So because I have normal combo skin and I have a little bit of texture and I haven't been really getting oily lately, I'm going to be going with this original primer and a little bit of the pore filling one. The original primer is going to go all over and the pore filling one is just going to go in targeted areas, and for me that is going to be right here on either side of my nose and then a little bit up on the forehead. All right, now that our skin is perfectly prepped and primed, I'm going to go in with our foundation products. For this kind of makeup, you want something that's not going to set down, lock down, dry down, and for the most part, something with a light to medium coverage is better. Not to say that things can't be matte or have to be luminous or something like that. There are matte products that have a little bit of movement that they maintain even after they're set and they are totally matte, and that's kind of where you want to go with things. We're not looking for something that dries down because that will look like makeup and it's completely unable to be fixed or adjusted later on in the day. One of my absolute favorites for medium coverage and buildable, if you want to build up a little bit more, is the Makeup Forever Ultra HD. It's just an original great staple formula. It's thin, it has a medium coverage, and it can be sheared out or built up, so it's very versatile. Another thing that I really love is the CC cream from IT Cosmetics. It comes in a luminous, a matte, and a neutral sort of formula. I'm using the luminous one today. One other option I really love that looks like zero makeup is the SB airbrush liquids from Temp2. These are a little bit pricier, but you need next to nothing, and this is my white mixer I use to lighten up any foundation, but it is the thinnest formula absolutely ever. That's just one drop, and it can be built up, and it literally just looks like skin. So if you're really serious investing in something like this, or a formula that's similar, silicone based, lots of slip, very lightweight is the way to go. So as I said, I'm going to be going in with this IT Cosmetics CC cream, and I'm going to be applying a pump and a half onto the back of my hand to work from. But I'm going to take that bit of product, and I'm going to be starting in the center of my face. So as you can see, this has quite a bit of dewiness and glow to it, which is why it's nice that they have multiple different finishes for you to choose from. I'm getting a little bit on the ears too. Swirling is to spread product around, where patting is to build up coverage. I'm gonna bring it down my neck a little bit with this. So now that you've got an even sort of base around your skin, this is going to help you blend any other products in. I'm gonna go in with our concealer for coverage. This concealer is just intended to cover up imperfections around the face. It's not brightening, it's a perfect match for our skin. And a slightly drier or fuller coverage formula is better for this. To find what I'm looking to conceal, I'm gonna just take my mirror and hold it a little bit back and kind of just look for anything that sticks out. So I'm warming it up with my fingers, and I'm just gonna tap it in the areas that I can notice from sort of this step back. So I didn't really need too much of my coverage concealer because my base did a really great job. Okay, so for under eye concealing, this is where you can go in with a slightly brighter shade, but we're not highlighting with this concealer. We're not applying something in a large space, and we're also not using something a bunch of shades lighter than our skin. We are looking for half a shade to 1 shade lighter than the skin maximum. If anything, keeping with pretty much the same color of your skin is also fine, but we're not looking for a drastic change or difference. And again, I'm gonna kind of take a step back with my mirror and just look for what stands out. Mostly because my base product does come up around my eyes, I'm just noticing this little triangle right here sort of sticking out to me, a little up into here, and this spot out here. So I'm just going to apply concealer to those areas, and you can see that this color is very close to the color of my foundation. It is slightly lighter. So you can use your fingers for this, but I think to keep the coverage higher, I do like to use a brush or a sponge. I'm gonna pat it to keep the coverage high, swipe to blend out the edges. All right, so you can see in comparison, this one looks a little bit more awake. I can still kind of see that I have product there though, so I'm just gonna go in and tap it out. This is just a really great way of removing excess product. So that is a brightened, naturally enhanced looking under eye compared to this, which just looks a little bit less awake, a little bit more tired. So I'm gonna copy the same on the other side now. For setting our foundation and our concealer products, you want to avoid something that's gonna set it and dry it out. Powders like the Laura Mercier, like this Patrick Star, like Airspun, anything that has a talc base to it is more drying. Something that it has a silica base to it, like the Ultra HD setting powder from Makeup Forever, any other HD setting powder that's like, feels like, you know, velvety nothingness. The NARS powder, the Jourdain setting powder. These are all silica powders. These ones do not dry as much. As long as you're not gonna be in flash photography, they're fine. I'm gonna be using these kinds of powders because even though I do have sometimes an oilier skin type, these powders are so much more drying that they look more makeup-y, and that's just the nature of them. That's why they work so well for covering you for oiliness all day long and locking things into place, but that's not what we need here today. So I'm gonna be taking this silica-based setting powder from NARS, and I'm going to take a pointed brush, and I'm just going to be using a tiny amount, and I'm gonna focus this under my eyes because that's the spot that moves more. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit more into my forehead as well because this is another place on me that moves a lot. It needs to be set more firmly. Next, taking a much less focused or dense brush, so a fluffier brush, I'm going to take a really light amount of product, and I'm going to lightly kind of apply this all over the face. This is gonna set everything, but not dry it all out. When it comes to skin that looks like it doesn't have anything on it, the less you apply, the better. So if you want to add a little bit more shape to your face, because I do have rounder cheeks, I do enjoy a little bit more contour on them. You want to take a product that isn't too much darker than your skin. We're not looking for chiseled. We're not looking for carved out and sculpted look. We're looking for natural skin. And I'm going to take it on a brush off the product like this. And I'm just going to apply a microscopic amount where I normally contour. And I can kind of see the shadow. So I'm gonna really try and fade this a little bit. So your contour has to be almost non-existent. As long as there still is a shadow, it'll have the right effect where it'll shape out your face a little bit more, but much, much, much less than you would for a full glam sort of look. All right, so I finished with my micro amount of contouring, and now I'm going to blush the skin a little bit. I'm using something that's very, very natural, not too peachy, pinky, colorful, whatever. And this is really just to make sure that there's a little bit of like healthy color in the skin. You're not trying to look blushed or anything like that. So I'm using a really fluffy brush. It's not very dense, so it's not going to apply too much product or color. And I'm just kind of swirling this up the cheeks. All right, and then as far as bronzer is concerned, it's really nice to add to some people's skin, but it's not mandatory for everybody's skin. I find that if the person is still looking a little bit washed out, it's nice to add a little bit of bronzer. But it's not super necessary. I'm actually just gonna go in with my brush for my foundation and get the edges of this blush just to really kind of make it disappear. All right, so it's not mandatory on me, but I kind of wish I looked a little tanner. So I'm gonna take a very small amount of bronzer, and I'm using something that is not very dark at all. It's a very sheer, natural looking bronzer, and I'm just using it around the perimeter of the face. And I'm also gonna add a tiny bit on the nose, but a very tiny amount on the nose. Next up, you wanna make sure that you get the neck. This sounds ridiculous, but if you have healthy kind of color and flesh in your face and no color on your neck, it looks like makeup. Which is the same reason why you put product on your ears a little bit. Okay, as far as highlighting is concerned, I don't really need it because this foundation has a little bit of glow to it, but any sort of ultra soft satin highlights, so something that's like, it has a little bit of glow, but no kind of like shimmer and like metallic sparkle, or something cream like this Nude Sticks in Illuminati, where actual dewiness that you can add to your skin, which now that I use it, I'm gonna add. That's the kind of effect that will brighten up your face without looking like highlighter, which is really hard for me to do as a person because I'm addicted to highlighter. So for brows, in this case, you're only gonna want to fill in where you need to for the most part. You're not drawing on a brow. So with my brow pencil, I'm just gonna go in on the areas that have sort of like sparse space. And then I'm going to kind of brush through with my brow gel. Okay, so to kind of finish things off, I'm just gonna go in and apply some mascara. And I'm gonna use a very small amount and a little bit of powder on my lids. I'll be right back. All right, so I have applied a little bit of powder on my lids to keep them from being shiny. I put on a very small amount of mascara and I used a clean spoolie wand to kind of like thin out the amount of product on my lashes so that they just look black, not like super mascaraed up. And I took a tinted balm and patted a little bit on my lips and blotted off any of the shine and excess. And these are all the kind of things that define your features a little bit more, but don't look made up or done up or whatever. So the last thing I do on my talent, or myself if I'm trying to do a no makeup look, is make sure I set this in place. Setting sprays have all sorts of different finishes to them, but one of my favorites is this all-nighter one from Urban Decay just because it has a neutral finish. So I'm gonna add this one right now. Cool. And so this is gonna help the powders kind of sink in a little bit more. It gives a little bit, I find it gives the finish on the skin a little bit more of like a skin look, and it does help things last a little bit longer. If I wanna add hydration, dewiness or whatever, I'll use the Caudalie spray, or I will use the Make It Forever setting spray that they have. They both add a little bit of dewiness. And then if I want something matte, I will use the Water Seal or Aqua Seal from Jordan Cosmetics. I'll use the Lock-It from Kat Von D, or I will use the Cover FX ones. Those are kind of how you can change the finish of your setting spray, but I usually do start with just a longevity one. And then last thing, if you want to powder or touch up your makeup throughout the day to kind of like fix it up, if you're one of those kinds of people, the best way to do that is to take either a pressed silica powder, pressed HD powder type of thing, if you're more on the normal to dry skin side of things. And if you're on the oilier side of things, going for one of those translucent blotting powders like they have from Cover FX. They have them from MAC. Those will kind of mattify if you're on the oilier side. And that is how you maintain. Because we haven't set anything down with like really drying products, none of our products here are like locked in place. If, let's just say you rub your face on something and you ruin your makeup, or if you, I don't know, eat something and you wear away something here, you can fix it just kind of by reactivating the product, moving it around a little bit more. And then if you want to lock that in place afterwards, you can set it with powder that you have. You can use a brush to do that, or I just use my fingers. If it's on talent, obviously I would use a brush or a sponge or something like that. But what's really great about this foundation is that throughout the day, as you live your life in your makeup, as it moves, you can fix it. And it's not something that has to be completely taken off and redone. It always looks like healthy and it's always workable. Thank you very much for watching my movie star skin. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips and you can appreciate how this is centered around strategically using makeup to give a very natural, flawless look. If you have any ideas for any other videos, anything related to my experience as a makeup artist, please leave some comments down below. Otherwise, I will see you guys in my next one, if that happens. See ya.